The Galactic Concord was a large group of many different species. They lived in peace for a very long time. Their ships traveled between stars. Their cities floated in space. Their homes were on gentle worlds with soft weather and calm seas. No one in the Concord liked war. They built strong shields and fast engines, but they never made big guns or sharp blades. They thought fighting was a thing of the past. Then the Kreks came. The Kreks were not like the others. They had hard shells and sharp claws. Their bodies mixed metal and flesh. They moved like insects in huge swarms. Their ships looked like giant bugs with many legs. The Kreks wanted more worlds. They wanted more stars. They wanted everything. The Kreks attacked without warning. They hit the border worlds first. The peaceful ships of the Concord tried to talk. The Kreks answered with fire. One world after another fell. The Kreks burned cities from orbit. They landed soldiers that cut through defenses like paper, screamed for help, but no one came fast enough. The Concord fleets gathered, but they were too slow. The Kreks moved like a storm. The High Minister of the Concord stood on the bridge of the biggest station. His name was Lyrak. He was tall and thin. His skin was pale blue. His eyes were large and sad. He looked at the screens that showed burning planets. He felt his heart's beat fast. He knew the end was close. Lyrak turned to his helpers. "Send the message," he said. "Send it on every channel. Send it to every corner of space. We need help. We need anyone who can fight." The helpers worked fast. They recorded the words of Lyrak. They sent the signal out into the dark. The message was simple and clear. "To any who hear this, we are being destroyed. Our fleets are broken. Our worlds burn. We beg for aid. Any aid. Please help us." The signal traveled far. It passed through nebulae. It crossed empty voids. It reached places where few ships went. One place it reached was called the Terran Exclusion Sector. No one from the Concord went there. They had rules about that place. Long ago, explorers met beings from there. The beings were strong. They were fast. They were angry. The meetings ended badly. The Concord decided to stay away. They put up signs that said, "Do not enter." The beings stayed inside their zone. They did not come out much. The Kreks heard the message too. Their leaders laughed. They sat in their throne rooms made of bone and steel. They watched the signal on their screens. "Look," they said. "The soft ones cry for help. They beg like weaklings. Who will come? Who dares to face us?" The Kreks thought no one would answer. They thought the galaxy was empty of real fighters. They kept attacking. They moved deeper into Concord space. Days passed. The burning continued. More worlds fell. The refugees ran in small ships. They carried children and old ones. They carried what little they could save. Their engines coughed from damage. Their hulls were black from laser burns. They sent the same plea over and over. "Help us, please." Then one convoy reached the edge of the Terran zone. They were tired. They were scared. Their leader was a female named Sira. She had lost her home. She had lost her mate. She held her small daughter close. Sira looked at the dark border ahead. She knew the stories. She knew the warnings. But she had no choice. She opened the channel and sent the message again. "To any who hear this, we are being hunted. We need help, please." For a long time there was silence. Then a new signal came back. It was strong. It was clear. The voice was deep and calm. "This is the UNS Raging Heart. You called for help. We are the help. Form up behind us. Do not interfere." Sira stared at the screen. Her daughter looked up. "Who is that, mother?" she asked. Sira did not know what to say. She just watched as a ship appeared on the sensors. It was not like Concord ships. It was not smooth or bright. It was rough. It was heavy. It had scars on its hull. It looked like it had fought many battles and won. Behind the Raging Heart came other signals. More ships. More voices. The humans were answering. The Krex hunter pack noticed too. They turned toward the new contact. They saw one destroyer and laughed again. "One ship," they said. "One primitive ship against us." They charged forward. Their weapons glowed hot. The Raging Heart did not run. It moved to meet them. Captain Elena Voss stood on the bridge. She was short, but strong. Her hair was cut short. Her face had old scars from fights on her homeworld. She looked at the enemy and smiled a little. "Prepare harpoons," she said. "Prepare boarding teams. Load the nukes, but hold them for now. Let us show them what Deathworlders can do." The battle started fast. The Krex fired first. Their beams hit the shields of the Raging Heart. The shields held. The human ship answered with kinetic rods. They flew silent and fast. They punched through Krex armor like it was nothing. Explosions bloomed in the dark. The Krex ship spun and broke. Humans boarded. They used small pods that slammed into enemy hulls. Marines in thick armor jumped out. They carried guns that shot metal slugs. They carried blades that cut through anything. The Krex soldiers met them in the corridors. The fight was close and bloody. The humans did not stop. They pushed forward. They tore apart the biomechanical bodies. They used the enemy weapons when their own ran dry. In 11 minutes, the hunter pack was gone. Nothing remained but pieces drifting in space. Sira and her people watched from their ships. They could not believe it. The refugees cheered. They cried. They hugged each other. The daughter asked again, "Who are they, mother?" Sira looked at the black ship that saved them. She whispered, "They are the ones we asked for. They are the Deathworlders." The message spread fast across the Concord worlds. The humans had come. The ones everyone feared had answered the call. The High Minister Lyrak heard the news. He sat in his chair and closed his eyes. First time in many days, he felt hope. But he also felt fear. He knew what came next. The Deathworlders did not fight small. They fought to win. They fought to end threats forever. The Krex leaders heard too. Their laughter stopped. They looked at the reports. They saw the destruction of their pack. They saw the name UNS Raging Heart. They felt something new, something they had not felt before. The refugee convoy drifted at the very edge of the Terran exclusion sector. Their ships were old and damaged. Smoke still rose from cracked engines. The hulls showed long black scars from Krex lasers. Inside, the people sat in dim lights. They held each other. They whispered prayers in many languages. Sira kept her daughter close. The little girl named Mira looked out the small window at the empty black. She asked quiet questions. "Mother, will someone really come?" Sira stroked her hair and said, "We asked. They will come." Then the signal returned. The voice was the same deep, calm one. "This is UNS Raging Heart again. You are in position now. Hold steady. We see the hunters behind you." Sira looked at her sensor screen. 3 Krex hunter ships moved fast toward them. They were shaped like long claws. Their weapons already glowed red. The Krex broadcast came next. "Surrender your vessels. Drop shields. Prepare for boarding. This is your only warning." The refugees froze in fear, softly. Sira opened her channel. She spoke with a shaking voice, but clear words. "We will not surrender. We asked for help, and help came. Please leave us alone." The Krex laughed through the speakers. "Foolish soft ones. No one will save you, not even the Deathworld monsters you call for. We will take your ships. We will take your lives." The hunters closed in. Their beams reached out like bright knives. The refugee ships had weak shields. They flickered under the attack. Alarms screamed inside the cabins. Children covered their ears. Then a new ship appeared on every screen. It came from the dark side, fast and silent. The UNS Raging Heart was bigger than the Krex hunters. It had thick armor plates. Many gun ports lined its sides. Antennae stuck out like spines. It looked old but very strong. It looked like it had been built to survive anything. Captain Elena Voss stood on her bridge. She wore a plain gray uniform. Her arms were crossed. She watched the Krek ships with calm eyes. Moved around her quick and sure. "Weapons officer ready," she said. "Helm, bring us between them and the refugees. Fire control, lock targets." The raging heart turned smooth. It placed itself right in the path of the hunters. The Krek ships hesitated for a second. They did not expect this. They sent another message. "Last chance, primitive. Turn away or die." Elena answered herself on the open channel. "You invaded. You burned worlds. You chased these people. Now you threaten us. Turn away yourselves, or do not. We do not care which." The Kreks opened fire first. Their beams hit the human ship hard. The shields flared bright blue but held. The raging heart did not shake. It did not slow. Elena gave the order. "Harpoons away." Long metal spears shot from the front of the ship. They flew silent and fast. Each one had a thick cable behind it. The harpoons struck the lead Krek's hunter. They punched deep into the hull. The cables pulled tight. The raging heart used its engines to swing the enemy ship around like a toy. The Krek's vessel spun helpless. Its own weapons could not aim anymore. The other two hunters charged. They fired everything they had. The human ship answered with railguns. Slugs of dense metal flew at high speed. They ripped through Krek's armor like paper. Explosions bloomed along the enemy hulls. One hunter lost an engine. Another lost its main gun turret. Elena watched the screens. "Boarding teams launch," she said. "Pods 1 through 6. Go loud. Go fast." Small round pods detached from the raging heart. They moved quick toward the damaged Krek ships. The pods slammed into the hulls. Airlocks opened. Marines in heavy gray armor jumped out. They carried big rifles. They carried short, thick blades. They moved in zero gravity like they were born in it. Inside the first Krek ship, the fight started fast. The Krek soldiers waited in the corridors. Their claws snapped. Their eyes glowed green. The humans came in shooting. The rifles roared. The bullets tore through biomechanical flesh. Green. Blood sprayed on the walls. The Kreks fought back hard. Their blades cut deep into armor. One Marine lost an arm. He did not stop. He grabbed the enemy with his other hand. He slammed it against the bulkhead until it broke. Another Marine ran out of bullets. He dropped the rifle. He pulled out his blade. The blade glowed with a thin blue edge. He cut through a Krek's leg. Then another. Then the body fell apart. He stepped over it and kept moving forward. His team followed. They cleared room after room. On the second Krek ship, things went even faster. The humans found the engine core. They planted small charges. The Kreks tried to stop them. A big warform blocked the way. It had many arms and sharp spines. The lead Marine laughed low. "Come on, then." He charged. The warform swung. Its claws met the Marine armor. Sparks flew. The Marine ducked under. He drove his blade into the soft joint under the main shell. The warform screamed. It fell. The Marine placed the last charge. He set the timer. 10 seconds. Humans pulled back. They jumped into their pods. The pods detached just as the charges went off. The Krek's ship broke in half. Fire bloomed silent in the vacuum. Pieces spun away. The third hunter tried to run. It turned toward open space. The raging heart was faster. It caught up. It fired one last salvo. The enemy ship exploded in a bright flash. Nothing was left. 11 minutes had passed since the first shot. The battle was over. The refugees watched every second. They could not speak. They just stared. Sira opened her channel again. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you so much." Elena answered simple. "You are safe now. Form up behind us. We will take you to a safe jump point. Then we go home. You can tell your people." The call was answered. The convoy moved slow behind the big human ship. The raging heart turned toward the exclusion sector. Its engines glowed steady. The refugees followed close. They felt something they had not felt in a long time. Safety. Crew cleaned their weapons. They patched small holes in armor. They laughed and told stories about the fight. One Marine with the lost arm sat in medical. His friend brought him water. You did good today, he said. The injured Marine smiled. Yeah, but next time I keep both hands on the gun. Elena walked the corridors. She stopped at a window. She looked out at the stars. She thought about home, about the dry red deserts, about the cold oceans, about the children who played in places that would kill most aliens. She thought about the message they had heard, about the burning worlds, about the plea for any help. She nodded to herself. We are the any, she whispered, and we are coming. Word traveled fast through the refugee ships. They sent signals back to the Concorde. They told everyone. The Deathworlders answered. They saved us. They destroyed the hunters in minutes. The High Minister Lyrak received the report. He sat quiet for a long time. Then he smiled small, but his eyes still held fear. Battle was not the war. He knew the humans would not stop at saving a convoy. He knew they would want more. Far away, the Krex leaders watched the same reports. Their throne room was dark. Their voices hissed low. One ship, they said. One primitive ship did this. The laughter was gone. Now there was anger, and underneath the anger, something colder, something like worry. The galaxy waited. The soft ones hoped. The hard ones feared. And in the exclusion sector, more human ships began to move. Old engines woke. Old guns loaded. The Deathworlders were no longer hiding. The news from the edge of the exclusion sector spread like fire through dry grass. Every Concorde world received the same report. A single human ship had destroyed 3 Krex hunters in minutes. It had saved a full refugee convoy without losing a single life. The images showed pieces of Krex ships floating in space. The humans had not even bothered to collect scrap. They just left it behind like broken toys. On the central station, the High Minister Lyrak called an emergency meeting. The room was round and bright. Delegates from many species sat in a circle. Some had feathers, some had scales. Some had smooth skin like glass. All of them looked tired. Their eyes showed fear and a tiny spark of hope. Lyrak stood in the center. He raised his thin arms for silence. We have confirmation, he said. The Deathworlders have answered our call. One of their ships, the UNS Raging Heart, protected our people. It fought alone and won. The Krex hunters are gone. The convoy is safe and moving toward a neutral port. A delegate with bright red feathers spoke first. This is good news. But one ship is not an army. What if the Krex send more? What if this is just luck? Lyrak nodded slowly. We do not know yet. But the humans sent a follow-up message. They said more ships are coming. They said they will meet with us. They want to talk face to face. The room filled with whispers. Some delegates looked excited. Others looked scared. A small being with 6 eyes and soft fur asked the question everyone thought. But where? Do we go to them, or do they come here? Lyrak touched a control. A star map appeared above the table. A red circle marked the Terran exclusion sector. We have never entered there, he said. The treaties forbid it. But the humans invite us now. They say send a small group. Come to their homeworld. Come see who we asked for help. The delegates argued for hours. Some said it was too dangerous. Some said they had no choice. In the end they voted yes. A small diplomatic team would go. 3 ships, small crews, no weapons, only words and hope. The journey took many days. The Concorde ships moved slow and careful. They stayed away from Krex patrols. They jumped through quiet routes. At last they reached the border. A human voice greeted them. Welcome to Terran space. Follow the beacon. Do not deviate. The beacon led them past dark asteroids, past gas giants with angry storms. Then they saw it. Earth. A blue and green marble wrapped in white clouds. It looked small and peaceful from far away. But as they came closer, they saw the truth. The surface was alive with lights. Cities hugged mountains. Cities sat inside old volcano holes. Bridges crossed wide rivers that flooded often. The oceans looked rough and gray. The land had thick forests and wide deserts. The ships entered orbit. A human station met them. It was huge and blocky. It had many docking arms. The Concorde team transferred to a shuttle. They wore simple robes. No armor, no guards. They felt small and exposed. Shuttle landed on a wide, flat place near a big city. The air smelled strange, sharp, and full of life. They stepped out onto hard ground. The gravity felt heavy, but not too bad. A group of humans waited. They wore plain clothes. Some had scars on their faces. Some had metal parts where arms or legs used to be. A tall woman with short gray hair stepped forward. She was Admiral Mara Kane. "Welcome to Earth," she said. "You asked for help. We are here to listen. But first, you should see." The humans took the delegates on a tour. They rode in open vehicles. The roads were rough but strong. They passed through a market. People sold food and tools. Children ran and laughed. The children played with animals that looked dangerous. Big cats with sharp teeth. Birds with long beaks that could cut metal. The delegates stared. One small delegate whispered, "These young ones are not afraid." Mara smiled. "They grow up here. They learn early that the world wants to kill them, so they learn to fight back." To a training ground next. It was a wide open field with high walls. Marines in gray armor ran drills. They fought mock enemies that looked like Kreks. The enemies were machines with claws and beams. The Marines used knives and shotguns. They moved fast. They worked as teams. One Marine was hit by a training beam. He fell, but got up laughing. Another team used ropes to climb a tall wall. They threw small bombs that made loud bangs. The mock Kreks broke apart. The Marines cheered. A delegate asked, "Why do they train like this? The war is far away." Mara looked at him. "The war is never far away for us. Our world tried to kill us every day. Floods, storms, beasts, sickness. We survived. We got strong. We meet it. We end it." They visited a shipyard next. It was on the moon. The air was thin but the gravity low. Huge machines built new ships. Old ships were pulled from deep caves. They were covered in dust, but the guns still looked ready. Workers in suits welded plates. Missiles. They tested engines. The noise was constant. The smell of hot metal filled the air. One worker stopped to talk. He was young. His hands were black with oil. He said, "We heard the message. We heard the burning worlds. We know what it feels like to lose everything. So we build, we fix, we get ready." The delegates felt something shift inside them. These humans were not monsters. They were survivors. They were people who had faced death every day and won. At night they sat in a large hall with Mara and other leaders. The food was simple. Bread, meat, vegetables, water. The humans ate with their hands. They talked loud. They laughed. Mara looked at Lirak. "You came to ask for more than one ship. You want our fleet." Lirak nodded. "Yes, our fleets are broken. Our people die every day. The Kreks do not stop. They want everything. We have nothing left but this plea." Mara leaned forward. "Then hear this clear. We will come, but we do not fight small. We do not make peace with invaders. We do not take prisoners. We do not leave threats alive. If we enter this war, the Kreks die. All of them. Every ship, every world, every last one. Understand that." The delegates looked at each other. Some swallowed hard. Lirak spoke for them. "We understand. We accept." Mara stood. She raised a glass of water. "To the Alliance," she said. "To the end of the Kreks." Everyone drank. The room was quiet, but full of purpose. Outside the hall, the night sky was clear. Stars shone bright. Children played in the streets. They sang old songs about blue oceans and green hills. They did not know yet that soon their parents would go to war. But they felt it. The air felt different, stronger. Far away on Concorde worlds, people watched secret reports. They saw the images of Earth. They saw the training. They saw the shipyards. Hope grew, but so did fear. The Deathworlders were coming, and when they came, nothing would be the same. The Kreks heard too. Their scouts sent back pictures of human ships waking up. In dark rooms, their claws clicked, nervous. One said, "They are primitives. They have no shields like ours, no beams like ours." Another answered, "But they answered the call. They destroyed our hunters. They build more ships now. We laughed at them once. We will not laugh again." The galaxy held its breath. The soft ones waited for saviors. The hard ones prepared for revenge. And on Earth, the Deathworlders sharpened their knives. They loaded their guns. They sang their songs. The human fleet gathered in silence above Mars. The ships looked old, but deadly. Many had names painted in white letters, like UNS Thunderchild, UNS Iron Rain, UNS Broken Chain. They were not pretty. They had thick hulls and many gun barrels. They carried scars from past wars. Engines hummed low and steady. The crews inside moved with purpose. They checked weapons. They loaded missiles. They tested shields. No one spoke much. Everyone knew what was coming. Admiral Mara Kane stood on the bridge of the flagship, UNS Enduring Storm. She looked at the main screen. It showed the jump coordinates, the main invasion corridor of the Kreks. A long line of systems where their motherships sat like fat spiders. They guarded the path to the heart of Concord space. Mara turned to her officers. "We go in hard," she said. "No fancy moves, no long talks. We hit them. We break them. We keep going until nothing moves." The fleet jumped together. Space folded around them. Light bent. Colors twisted. Then they arrived. Stars snapped back into place. Right in the middle of Krek's territory, dozens of human ships faced hundreds of enemy vessels. The Krek's motherships were huge. They stretched for kilometers. Their surfaces crawled with smaller ships. Their shields shimmered like oil on water. The Krek's overmind noticed the intruders at once. Alarms screamed across their network. The soft ones send primitives. The primitives come to die. The Kreks laughed in their strange way. Their ships turned. Weapons powered up. Beams charged. Mara gave the order. "All ships, kinetic barrage. Full spread. Target the big ones first." The human fleet answered as one. Railguns fired. Slugs of heavy metal flew at speeds that made light itself seem slow. The slugs hit Krek's shields hard. The shields flared bright, then cracked. Some slugs punched through. They tore into hulls. Metal and flesh exploded outward, silent in the vacuum. Fire bloomed in bright flashes. The Kreks fired back. Their beams swept across space. Shields. The shields held, but glowed red. Some smaller escorts took damage. Hull plates buckled. Air vented in white clouds. But the humans did not slow. They pushed forward. Mara watched the battle. She spoke calm. "All boarding teams prepare. Launch when ready. Show them what Deathworlders do up close." Pods shot from every human ship. Hundreds of small craft. They moved fast. They aimed for the biggest motherships. The Kreks tried to shoot them down, but the pods twisted and dodged. They used old tricks from human wars. They spun. They rolled. They came in low. One pod slammed into a mothership hull. It stuck like a tick. Marines poured out. They wore thick armor. They carried heavy guns. They carried blades that hummed with energy. They cut through the outer skin. They entered the enemy ship. Inside the corridors were dark and wet. The air smelled of oil and blood. The Krek soldiers waited. They had long claws. They had guns that spat green fire. The humans met them head-on. The fight was close. The corridors became killing grounds. Bullets flew. Blades flashed. Green blood mixed with red. The humans pushed forward. They did not retreat. They did not scream when hurt. They kept moving. A squad led by Sergeant Jax found the main power core. The core was huge. It pulsed with blue light. Krek's guards protected it. They charged. The humans fought back. One Marine lost a leg. He crawled forward. He threw a grenade. The explosion ripped the guards apart. Jax planted charges on the core. Timer set. 5 minutes. Pull back, he yelled. The squad ran. They fought through more Kreks. They lost 2 more Marines. But they reached the pods. They escaped just as the core blew. The mothership shook. It split open along the middle. Fire poured out. The ship died slow. Other teams did the same. They boarded. They fought. They planted bombs. They broke reactors. They cut life support. The Krek ships started to fail, one after another. On the bridge of a Krek's mothership, the overmined fragments screamed in rage. The primitives are inside. They tear us apart. Send more. Send everything. The smaller Krek ships swarmed. They tried to protect the big ones, but the human fighters were already there. Small, fast ships piloted by humans and machines. They danced through the enemy. They fired missiles. They rammed when needed. One pilot named Rico flew straight at a Krek's cruiser. He laughed loud. This is for the kids back home. His ship hit the enemy bridge. The explosion took out the whole command section. The battle lasted hours. The Krek's numbers were huge, but the humans fought dirty. They used every trick. They vented sections to suck enemies into space. They overloaded systems to make explosions. They turned captured Krek's weapons against their makers. A Krek's commander broadcast surrender terms. We offer terms. Cease fire. Withdraw. We will allow your species to live in your zone. Mara answered on every channel. You invaded. You burned worlds. You chased the helpless across the stars. For help, now you beg. You get no terms. You get what you gave. Death. The broadcast ended. The human fleet pressed harder. The Krek's line broke. Systems fell one by one. The humans took no prisoners. They left no survivors. They moved like a storm that cleans everything in its path. In one system, the Kreks tried a last trap. They hid Nova bombs in the asteroid belt. The bombs were set to explode when the humans came close. But human scouts found them first. Drones sniffed them out. Marines in suits went out. They disarmed the bombs. They turned some against the Krek ships. The explosions lit the dark like new suns. On a captured Krek's world, the humans landed troops. The Kreks had built forts there. The forts were tall and sharp. But the humans came from above. They dropped in armored pods. The pods hit like meteors. They cracked the ground. Marines climbed out. They fought in the dust. They used the planet itself. Rocks became weapons. Dirt became cover. They pushed into the forts. They cleared room. The Kreks fought hard, but the humans were angrier. They remembered the burned worlds. They remembered the children who died. They did not stop. A young Marine named Lena stood on a broken wall. She looked at the red sky. She held a Krek's blade in her hand. It was still wet with green blood. She thought of her brother, who died in the old wars. She thought of the plea she heard on the news. She whispered low. We answered. Back in space, the last big mothership tried to run. It jumped toward deep space, but the enduring storm was faster. It caught up. It fired one final barrage. The mothership broke apart. Pieces drifted slow. The overmined fragment died with a long scream that echoed across the channels. The corridor was clear. The path to the Krek's heart lay open. The human fleet regrouped. They counted losses. Some ships were gone. Many good people died. But the fleet was still strong, still angry, still moving forward. Mara stood on her bridge. She looked at the stars ahead. She spoke to her crew. We are not done yet. The soft ones asked for help. We give it the only way we know, all the way to the end. The fleet jumped again, toward the final battle, toward the home of the ones who started it all. The Deathworlders struck back, and they did not miss. The human fleet arrived above the Krek's homeworld like a shadow falling over the sun. The planet was called Krexar. It was covered in dark cities that looked like hives. Tall spires rose from the ground. They twisted like bones. Orbital rings circled the world. Heavy cannons pointed outward. Shields glowed thick and strong. The Kreks had turned their home into a fortress. They thought nothing could break it. Admiral Mara Kane stood on the bridge of the UNS Enduring Storm. She looked at the planet below. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned. She spoke to the fleet. All ships form attack pattern. We end this today. No retreat, no mercy. The Kreks started this war. We finish it. The Kreks overmind felt the humans arrive. It sent a wave of fear through every Krek's mind. They knew what had happened in the outer systems. They knew their fleets were broken. They knew the Deathworlders came for them now. The Overmind tried to speak. It broadcast on every channel. We offer final terms. Lay down your arms. We will spare your world. We will allow your species to exist. Mara answered short and clear. You burned worlds. You killed the helpless. You laughed at pleas for help. Now you beg. You get nothing but what you deserve. The battle began. The Kreks fired first. Their orbital cannons sent beams of white fire. The human shields flared bright. Many held. Some cracked. Smaller ships took hits. Hulls split open. Air and people spilled into space. But the fleet pushed on. They answered with their own weapons. Railguns roared. Kinetic slugs flew in long lines. They hit the orbital rings. The rings shook. Pieces broke off. They fell toward the planet like burning rain. Fighter swarms launched from both sides. Kreks drones were fast and many. They moved like angry insects. Human fighters were fewer but tougher. Pilots twisted through the dark. They fired missiles. They rammed when close. One pilot named Kara flew straight at a Kreks command ship. She said, "Quiet. This is for my sister." Core. The explosion took out a whole section of the ring. Fire spread across the sky. Marines prepared for the drop. They sat in armored pods. Their faces were hard. They checked weapons. They said last words to each other. Sergeant Jax was there again. His arm was new metal but strong. He looked at his team. We go in hot. We clear paths. We plant the big charges. We do not stop until the Overmind is dust. The pods launched. They fell like meteors. They burned through the upper air. The Kreks tried to shoot them down. Lasers hit some pods. Explosions bloomed. But most pods survived. They slammed into the surface. They cracked open like eggs. Marines poured out. They hit the ground running. They fought in the streets. They fought in the tunnels. They fought under the red sky. The Kreks soldiers met them everywhere. They had claws and guns. They had war forms that were tall and fast. The humans met them with bullets and blades. They used the city itself. Broken walls became cover. Rubble became weapons. Marine threw a rock that cracked a Krek's head. Another used a piece of metal pipe to beat down a war form. They moved forward room by room. They cleared hive after hive. Deep inside the main hive, the Overmind waited. It was a huge thing. A mass of flesh and wires. It pulsed with blue light. It sent soldiers to protect itself, but the humans kept coming. They blew open doors. They fought through poison gas. They ignored the pain from cuts and burns. They reached the central chamber. Jax led the final team. He stood before the Overmind. It spoke in his mind. Please, we can share. We can rule together. Jax looked at it. He thought of the burned Concord worlds. He thought of the refugee girl named Mira. He thought of his own dead friends. He raised his gun. No, he said, you die. He fired. The bullets hit soft parts. The Overmind screamed. It tried to fight back. Tendrils lashed out. They wrapped around Marines. They pulled. They crushed. But other Marines cut the tendrils. They planted charges around the core. They set timers. They pulled back. The team ran through collapsing halls. The hive shook. The Overmind tried one last plea. Mercy, mercy. The humans did not answer. They kept running. They reached the surface just as the charges went off. The explosion was huge. The central hive cracked open. Fire shot into the sky. The ground split. The Overmind died with a long cry that faded into silence. The Kreks everywhere felt it. Their minds broke. Many fell down. They stopped fighting. Some tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The human troops moved through the cities. They cleared the last pockets. They destroyed the last cannons. They left nothing alive that could fight back. Above the planet, the fleet finished the job. They broke the orbital rings. They hunted the last escaping ships. They turned the moons into rubble, so no one could hide there. The Kreks dominion was gone. Every mothership, every soldier, every world that followed them, all gone. The human fleet stayed a short time. They helped the few Concord prisoners who were still alive. They gave them food. They gave them ships. They said, "Go home. Tell your people it is over. The Kreks will not come again." Then the fleet turned away. They jumped back toward their own space. They left Krexar a broken world. Smoke rose from the ruins. The sky was dark with ash. Nothing moved on the surface. On Earth, people waited. They watched the news feeds. They saw the victory. They cheered. They cried. They hugged each other. Children ran in the streets. They waved flags. They sang songs about heroes far away. Parents told stories about the day the Deathworlders struck back. The Concord world celebrated too. They rebuilt their cities. They planted new trees. They looked at the stars with hope. The High Minister Lyrax sent a message to Earth. "Thank you," he said. "You saved us. You ended the nightmare. We will never forget." Mara read the message on her bridge. She smiled small. "We did what we do," she said. "When someone cries for help, we answer. Someone hurts the weak. We strike back. That is all." The UNS Enduring Storm limped home. Its hull was black. Its guns were quiet. The crew sang old songs. They sang about blue oceans and green hills. They sang about a world that tried to kill them every day, but never won. They laughed. They drank. They remembered the fallen. They promised to keep going. Years passed. The galaxy became quiet again. The Kreks were gone. Their name became a warning. Parents told children, "Do not invade. Do not burn. Do not make the Deathworlders angry. Because if you do, they will come, and they will not stop." The humans went back to their exclusion sector. They closed the borders again. They watched the stars from afar. Ships from other species came sometimes. They brought gifts. They brought thanks. They kept a respectful distance. They knew the Deathworlders were there, ready if needed. On a quiet night, a child asked her father, "Why do the stars stay peaceful now?" He looked up at the sky and smiled. "Because long ago, someone cried for help, and the Deathworlders answered. They struck back, and the galaxy learned to behave." The child nodded. She looked at the bright stars. She felt safe. She knew the monsters were on her side. The blue-green rock, called Earth, kept turning. It kept living. It kept growing strong. Because that is what Deathworlders do. They survive. They protect. They strike back when called. And the galaxy remembered the title of that old war. Invaders cried for help, and the Deathworlders struck back.